That old saying, if a tree falls down in the woods and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? And I feel like a music release is very similar to this. And so marketing your music is clearly a vital thing to do. But even more so is the strategy that you wish to employ around the release of your music, or indeed the marketing of your brand. It's not always about just marketing your music. Sometimes it's about marketing you as an artist and your brand. So I think that's quite an interesting distinction. For us, marketing starts with being clear about your objective and setting goals. And we might, as I mentioned before, success is about setting goals and objectives and achieving those goals and objectives. So marketing is no different. It's absolutely no different. And often it's relative to what you can afford. It's also often relative to where you are in your career and what support you have around you. A record label approach to marketing can be quite different to an independent approach to marketing. An independent approach to marketing tends to be, in many ways, more creative because they need to be, because they have less resources to achieve some of those results. So for us, marketing is about being clear on the objective. And there's a really great book by a guy called Stephen Covey, which is called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it talks about starting with the end in mind. And I love that. I just love that way of thinking. It's like, what do you want the result to be? And work backwards from that. At that stage, you're starting to get clear about the journey to that success at that point. And marketing really is facilitating that success. What platforms are we going to use? What platforms work for you and your audience? What platforms work for your genre? What resources do you have? How do you want to apply? What video content do you have? Marketing is about piecing all of the assets together, placing it on a timeline, and ensuring we're bringing a swell of activity towards that release or that moment, that impact, whatever it might be, a release, a live date, dropping an NFT, like as it is in these days, and so we can build up that marketing activity to that point. In essence, without marketing, it's very hard to get your music into the right ears and almost impossible to build a fan base. So the trends I'm seeing is that artists are becoming so much better at producing video content, and therefore those video platforms are becoming stronger and even more important in your marketing mix. So for me, what's exciting is that we've kind of gone on this video journey. And if you go back all of those years, you will kind of go through MTV in the 80s and music videos and just one very linear way of watching video content. Although fundamentally, music video enabled artists in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to scale very quickly. They were able to perform in lots of countries at any one point, which is great. Now it's become even more exciting that people are able to create micro communities using these platforms like TikTok, like Instagram Reels. I think is quite big too. There are new emerging platforms like Be Real, which I think are going to emerge and become quite interesting for artists too. But certainly the trend that I'm seeing is more content being built by an artist that is even more tailored to their audience. It's this micro content generation, and I love that. To grow a fan base, I think you need three kind of good thoughts. The first thought is, why do you exist? Which is quite a hard question to answer. And in many ways, your music is the least interesting part of you, which is quite hard for an artist to hear. And there's a really great marketeer called Rory Sutherland. And as he rightly says, people buy the experience. They don't buy the product. There's lots of products. There's no shortage of music, but people buy into the experience. And I think that's a really important thing for an artist to consider. And it's often very hard for them to detach that sort of mindset. But to grow a fan base, you need to understand that you need good product, but people don't necessarily buy the product, buy the experience. So if you've got a good product with a great experience, they're two incredibly important things. Then the third point would be data capture. A lot of artists say to me, why aren't I signed? Why am I not signed? I've got the best music ever. Great. Well, how about you imagine you're pitching your music to an investor. They're sitting there and they have £100,000 on the table, and they're saying to you, okay, pitch your business to me. I want to invest in you. How would you pitch? And an artist looks at you and kind of goes, well, I'd tell them my music's great. Well, okay, but that's not going to make me my money back. Well, it will, because I'll use that money to get new fans. Oh, so I have to build your fan base for you. That's not how investment works. Investment works through the opportunity. They can't invest in you if they don't believe they're going to make their money back. So they need to see that you are making money, you are a vibrant business, your shop is doing well, and you're at that point where you want to open more shops around the world. For an independent artist, they may not be able to afford a very complicated, expensive CRM system like HubSpot, or there's many others. However, they can afford an Excel spreadsheet. They can ask for data points. They can incentivize fans to give them data in a responsible way, obviously. Even 20 years, 30 years after the email sort of launched, I still believe emails are an incredible data source to have. This is a direct to fan ability to chat to them and retarget on social ads. And so once you start to create data, you also then start to create value in your business. That's absolutely vital. An artist should think that way from day one. How can they create value in their business? If you can explain to them you have all of this data point, you have 10,000 email addresses from willing fans ready to buy product, you have lots of different products available, you have partnerships and collaborations with big people. If you can explain that to them, you will get a deal. When an artist starts out, it's not unusual for them to have a very small team around them. And usually that team is them, maybe a producer who's a friend, maybe a parent who wishes to invest in their child's dream. Maybe they've helped them buy a little mini studio for their bedroom. That really is the beginning parts of building a team. Now, it might not feel like a very professional team, but it's a very useful team. You effectively have an investor, you have a creative partner, and you have the music at the middle. So it is hard to build those partnerships, but you're already doing it quite naturally. All you are doing at this stage is taking that concept and just broaden it out. When you're building that shop, let's just use that as an analogy. You're building your shop. You have a shop front. That's how you look. That's your logo. That's your website. That's how you present. People walk into your shop and you have produce. So you have songs, you have t-shirts. When they walk into that shop, they go, oh, okay, there's some great product in here. It's a very small shop. There's not many items, but that's okay. And then what experience do they have when they walk in the shop? Hi, I'm an artist. Come over here. Or is it, hi, I'm an artist. What experience are they having? Are they getting free stuff? Are they walking in? Is someone greeting them as they walk in? And then showing them around the shop and talking to them, asking them how their day was? Are they interacting? There's a lot of areas here that combine. At some point, though, that shop gets very busy and we need to start thinking about how we widen it out. That's when you need partners, and that's when you need to understand maybe you need to engage with a marketing team to help scale your business. We need to use your existing client base, and then we need to expand on that. We need to learn from that and find more people like that. Then we need to replicate your experience in other parts of the world. And then if we replicate that experience in other parts of the world, we'll grow more fans. From an independent artist point of view, growing a fan base is simply building a community around your music. You set the tone for that community because no one's going to be a bigger fan of your music than you. No one. So learn from that. Why do you like doing what you do? What is it that motivates you? What is your vision? Who do you imagine being on that front row when you're performing live? Who do you imagine being there? When you start to visualize, then you can really start to understand your brand. then you can apply that brand in the scenario that you wish. And that's when you build a community. Once you've built a community, you must cultivate the community. You must work with the community. You must understand the community. You must ask them questions. Don't assume too much. Once you've built a community, ask them, engage them, learn from them. And that's what we say to artists all the time. Don't make assumptions. Ask them. Ask them the simple question. What do you want me to do more of? What do you like about coming into my world? What would you like me to do more of? And then go and do it. Super serve the fan base. That's when you build loyalty. That's when you build ambassadors. When a fan turns into an ambassador, they essentially become 10 more marketers for you. They start to do your marketing for you. So that thought process doesn't need to be detached from the music. It can complement the music as long as the mindset is correct and you're saying the music is here, it stands for this, and the experience I want my fans to have is this. Let's create that for them. Let's create that community. Then it just naturally fuels itself. It becomes self-propelling because it starts to attract the right people. And that law of attraction is a really important point. You have to create the community, and if you get it right, people will be attracted towards that too.